Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. You know, we love hot rods here at the shop. And so far, the only hot rods we've dealt with, pretty much with the exception of my tank car before this, was the pre-war hot rods, where they would take a big World War I engine from an airplane and put it in a car, like the Fiat over here. This is the 22-liter six-cylinder Fiat. You saw the Hispano Suiza with the big Hispano Suiza Aero V8. In fact, here are some hot rod movies that were popular when I was a kid. These movies were so stupid, but it was the only place, when you grew up in a little town in New England, you ever got to see hot rods. This is the drag strip riot. The guy in the Corvette is fighting the guy in the Triumph. The guy in the Triumph has a monkey wrench. All the guy in the Corvette has to do is go like this and knock the guy over. Why they're swinging at each other, I have no idea. And then this was hot rod hullabaloo. The jet age crowd there with it. I mean, these movies were hilarious. If you ever see them on cable or if they pop up on Netflix or something, you got to watch them because they're really, really fun. But enough about that. Let me show you my hot rod. Here it is right here. This is well, it's a tribute to the Deuce Coupe. This is a 32 Chevy frame with a 32 Ford body. You know, a lot of times when the guys build hot rods, they don't use original frames, so it's hard to get title. We wanted to make sure we could title this as a 32 Chevy. So we used an original 32 Chevy frame, and when we showed it to the DMV, we deliberately didn't fill it in. We kept it all rough to prove that it was an original frame. And this car was built to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the small block Chevrolet back in 1955. We built this for the SEMA show in Las Vegas in 2005. It's all steel, use an Oakley body. They still manufacturing this body. They do a great job. We've got the Chevy grille in it. And even though most Deuce Coupes are Ford, we made this one Chevy, but it's still, so it's basically a replica kind of all steel Ford body, Chevy grille, and a lot of Corvette touches throughout the car. The engine is the 427 LS7, which went into the 2006 Z06 Corvette. It's taken out to about between 580 and 600 horsepower dynos in and around that area. And of course, it's got the Tremec 6-speed in it, and it's a lot lighter than the Corvette for obvious reasons. I think it's a really good-looking car. We'll take it out in just a minute. It's got a complete top, and it's got electric windows. The top comes up out of here. This whole deal, nicely done. And then the top, you pull up and you put it together. And it goes up just like this, and you shut that, and boom, you're back in business. But it looks best with the top down, so I've only had the top up a couple of times in the winter. This is really a California summer car, and it's got a lot of Corvette retro touches too. You'll see the dashboard. The steering wheel is reminiscent of the 56 Corvette. It's got the Cadillac CTS-V differential, 373 gears in it. It's really fast, and it's a lot of fun to drive. And BASF did this paint for us. This is a special silver. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but they did this paint especially for us. It's got some blue in it. Appears to change color in different light. It's pretty cool. We've got these Brembo brake package on it, so it stops really well. Brembo discs all the way around. Z06 style wheels. Not quite Z06, but you can see some Z06 touches in it. We've got 18-inch wheels in the front, and we got 20-inch in the back. But let's open the hood and show you how clean it is inside here. As you can see, pretty sanitary. Much as I like seeing a bunch of Stromberg carburetors up there, you're not going to get this kind of power with carburetors. And of course, being a Z06 motor, it's virtually just bulletproof. It just makes power all day long, and it's virtually maintenance-free. That's the great thing about these small blocks. I mean, it's hilarious that a 427 is considered a small block, but that's what it is. It doesn't overheat, doesn't cause any problems, and it makes all kinds of power. Pretty amazing. This is obviously your brake and master cylinders up here for clutch and whatnot. You know, electric fans, all that kind of stuff. It's nothing particularly unusual under the hood here. The engine is just a crate motor that's been breathed on a little bit, give it about 600 horsepower. Stock, this engine was 505. You see we got the coils in the front. If you come around the back, you can see the battery is in the trunk. Gas is right here. As I said, battery in the trunk, and I can actually go someplace in this. It's got a bigger trunk than a Lamborghini, so that's pretty cool. Dual exhausts. The cool thing is, it's a hot rod you can drive every day. You can see the Corvette-inspired dashboard. It's even got the tilt-away steering wheel. The interior, I think, is reminiscent of an early '60s Corvette. Look at that, electric windows. So it's so you don't freeze to death. And it's a proper 6-speed car. I know a lot of guys like the automatics, but to me, if you're gonna have a Deuce, you gotta have it with a stick. I mean, that's what makes it fun to drive. But as you can see, nicely done, all the little small block touches. This car was a big hit when it was premiered at SEMA back in 2005. In fact, if you Google it, you can get a lot more technical stuff on it. But it's just been a lot of fun. And it's a great car to drive, great car to cruise in, and it's really fast. In fact, let's go for a ride. This is what California's all about. Nice little Deuce, 600 horsepower. Suspension for this is out of a Z06 Corvette, so it handles pretty nice, much better than any Deuce Roadster has a right to. It's just a lot of fun to drive. It's a great cruise car, and the fact that you don't have any overheating problems, and being a crate motor, it meets emissions, so you're being somewhat responsible at the same time, so that's kind of nice. And I love the classic kind of Corvette blue interior. When I was a kid, the coolest Corvette were always this kind of sea blue kind of color. Gotta be careful when you're hanging out like this, you look at that rear tire, you get hit in the face with mud and water, so keep your face inside the vehicle at all times, especially when you have a giant face. You know, when we were building this car, everybody fought me, oh no, put the paddle shifter in it, put the automatic transmission in it. I'm so glad I didn't. I love this Tremec gearbox, and I just love going through the gears. It's just a lot of fun. I know it's old school, and a lot of people read this blog, don't get it, but sorry about that. The fun thing about hot rods is you build them the way you want them. And this is the way I wanted this one. 600 horsepower, Deuce body, a nice Z06 motor. Got a nice sound to it, handles beautifully. Gotta have your arm out the window, and it's classic. Riding around town here, we never get out of third gear. Let's take it up on the freeway. See how she cruises. Actually, cruises nice. You'll see. I still got 2 gears left. You know, I had a 34 Ford when I was a kid. We put a 292 in it, but we kept the mechanical brakes. So you didn't stop at all. You know, it's fun to have the power of a Z06 Corvette in a classic body style like this. I'm sure it probably doesn't handle as well as a Z06, but it's pretty close. And in a straight line, no contest.
BASF, they make any kind of color you want, and they really do a heck of a job. This is just a terrific paint job. It just kind of shimmers in the light. As I said, I've had this car since 2005. Not a problem. The motor's bulletproof, the brakes are bulletproof. I mean, everything is almost to original equipment manufacturer specification. But of course, it's not a real hot rod unless it can do a burnout. Can this do a burnout? I'm pretty confident. See you next week.